Hello, hello, hello. Oh, seems a little loud for us. Okay. Okay, now we're going. Can you believe? Look where we are. We're back. We're back in the studio, and I couldn't be happier. But who knows how long I'll be here for my schedule is unpredictable and ever-changing. And I don't even know what I'm going to be from one second to the other. Maybe my location, but also my mind. Where's my mind going to be in the next 5 seconds? The same place it's been, in the gutter and thinking about planning my birthday. I'll tell you that much. There's not much else going on up there. I want to be, I want to have other things going on in my mind besides these superficial things, but sometimes you just need a break because I'm forced to think about so many things so much of the time, like when I plan this podcast. So welcome back. We'll do some roll call. President, here, I, me. Treasurer, I. Recorder, I. Secretary, I. Okay, looks like everybody's here. You'll see Gypsy Rose right next to me. Gypsy Rose. That's Nardo. Okay, well, you'll see I have 2 drinks here. One is a vitamin C because I've been feeling under the weather, but you know what? I can't take a sick day. Not around here. I have to keep going. Push myself to the limits. Besides, even though I have a sore throat, don't worry. Drink some vitamin C and spray that chloraseptic down your throat. Who knows if this is good for your health, this red dye green 40. Feeling better. Just with a little vitamin C, feeling better. And then a spin drift. These have been my favorite lately. What is this? Raspberry lime. Ooh! These erosive carbonated bubbles is just what my throat needs. My tonsillitis, my adenoids. I have them all. Much to my dismay, and I should have had tubes in my ears, but I was long forgotten by then. By the age of 3, nobody even knew me anymore. That one in the back, let her eardrums perforate. She can't stay out of her swimming lessons for more than 6 months. What swimming lessons? I cannot swim. I cannot hear. This will make it all better. This and the vitamin C. Don't worry, your tinnitus will go away. Don't worry, all your childhood woes will go away if you just do a vitamin C chased with a spin drift. That's what they say anyway. That was my cameras being disconnected again. Don't worry, everything's fine here. Well, let's get into it already, shall we? I watched the Diddy doc. I did. And there are going to be some spoilers, okay? Because it's been #1 on Netflix for like a week now. So if you haven't watched it, it's not my fault. Diddy takes petty to a whole new level, doesn't he? Doesn't he? If you've seen anything or heard anything, but listen up. It's not my fault if you don't binge TV on the weekends like me and cancel all your plans. Somebody said, Gabby, do you have plans for the weekend? I was like, I hope not. But this doc was produced by 50 Cent. Because 50 Cent is a known hater of Diddy's. So he was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity to try and take him down to the ground. But Diddy obviously had to agree to use some of his footage. So I feel like there were some important pieces left out. And I just had to look up his sign, like mid-docu, mid-going through this. And you know what? I was like, I bet he's a Scorpio. And lo and behold, he's a fellow Scorpio. Mostly I could tell with his envy, with his jealousy. There's good Scorpios out there. Okay? I'm not saying they're all like Diddy. There's good ones. Don't make me say it, but I just knew he was one of the bad ones. But I did think the first couple episodes were good. It helped us like with the backstory and kind of understand how he turned into this monster, mogul, music producer, desperado, reeking of attention and seeking stench. Reaching of attention, seeking stench. He manipulated his way right through the top by using his artists that he signed. He would like weasel into all of those music videos because he wanted to be a star. This was never about anyone else. Poor 112. We only got one hit, Peaches and Cream. And mean and Peaches and Cream. And poor Cassie, which we'll get into her, she had the one hit even before she was signed with Diddy, her old producer and ex-boyfriend who Diddy stole her from. She had that time to get you on, to get you. That was her one hit, and he promised her 10 albums in the world, and look where he got her, nowhere. Look where he got her, testifying in court because she was sex trafficked and a victim of domestic violence and other things. He didn't get her anything. He didn't get her anything but a life full of hell. He's nothing but a speck of duplicitous dirt on the bottom of your sock because you wore them outside because you're too lazy to put on your slippers, and dare I say you put them back in your regular shoe. That's Diddy, all right. The dirt on the bottom of your sock in the middle of your shoe, that is extreme dirt with the heat. It's melting it all together. It's about me, he says, and my Sirach, which he got $100 million for peddling, because all of a sudden now he's a raging alcoholic and a drug addict. And oh, look at my bad clothing line. I forget what it was called, maybe Sean Combs. He says, I think I have some design to contribute to the fashion world because look at me, I'm so stylish. So I dress ugly. I make terrible choices when it comes to fashion. I'm campy and embarrassing and cheesy, doing the shoulders and running around like this. He never looked good. You can tell he has bad taste in fashion when he's right next to Tupac. Because Tupac is effortlessly fashionable and hot and swaggy. And he wanted to be like Tupac. Tupac knew how to wear a jacket with no shirt and a chain. Hello? Diddy could never. He had too many chains on. It just never did the thing. He didn't know how to be sparing or have any discretion in the way he dressed. And that is why Diddy killed him. A motive. Tupac was a natural ladies' man. And Diddy was a gay boy. I mean, Tupac does have the most perfectly curled lashes I've ever seen. Like he has the permanent, what do you call that, lamination? And it makes his eyes look so charming and lovable. It comes through the screen. He doesn't even have to say anything. Nonetheless, his lyrics were poetic justice, and had something to teach us. Diddy could never. Green doesn't look good on you, Diddy. It's not your color. You're green with envy matched with your tiny and black soulless eyes, looking for the next victim to smash a bottle of Vouv over their head with. Have you no respect for the grapes hailing from Champagne, France? Have you no respect for a good bubble when you can see it? You're going to waste it over a petty smash over somebody's head? Why don't you get your priorities straight? I'm going to take these French tip-laden fingers and scratch your brains out. How about that? I'll do you one. You come near me with a bottle of Vouv to crash over my head. I'm going to get you first. You need a sharp lobotomy and you need it fast. But no, they save these kinds of procedures for women when they are ovulating or having a menstruation. As your uterine lining sheds into the bottoms of your period panties, here comes the needle up through your nose. You must be crazy. Well, newsflash, Diddy was on his period 24/7. PMDD, medication resistant. No Pepsid or calcium will help here, and that's for sure. No matter what your psychiatrist says, she prescribed me calcium 4-pack calcium pills a day. to help with my PMDD. First of all, I cannot adhere to this schedule. Second of all, have you ever tried to swallow a calcium pill? It doesn't go down easy. You better detach your arms from your shoulders so you can prepare to give yourself the Heimlich after you try and choke one down. Then what's next? You have 3 or 4 to go. So off come your shoulders to prepare for the 4 chalkiest, biggest gulps you've ever had in the name of PMDD. So first you have to make the choking sign in the mirror to yourself to make sure the people in the room know you're choking. It goes like this. Right over left with this kind of a square thing, and then you put it over your neck so everyone knows it's clear you need the Heimlich. You're the only one in the room, so you will give this sign to yourself so it's clear to you that you are choking from the calcium. The Heimlich cannot go on without this prelude. So you give yourself the sign. Your arms are already detached, and you wrap them around yourself once and find the spot right under the rib cage and prepare to pump. You go up it, you go under and up, and you pump, pump, pump until the calcium flies out of your mouth with such force and it bounces off the mirror and goes back into your mouth. So you have to repeat it 1 through 4. Give yourself the choking sign second time around because the pill bounced off the mirror. Wrap your arms around, pump, pump, pump. I don't know what happens to the calcium next. It's up to fate. But it's not really looking good for you if you try and treat your PMDD. And then it's going to charge you $250 at the urgent care to get your arms sewn back on by some kind of a PA who doesn't have much experience in stitching or putting back your ligaments together, but you have PMDD and no health insurance, so this is all you got. You better prepare with the Bactine at home and some kind of a hydrogen peroxide to keep it clean. All because you have a set of ovaries and a negative feedback loop of progesterone and estrogen. But Diddy's on his period, so scratch his frontal lobe. It's time to make him into a toddler. He's a danger to society and deserves to crawl around with no core muscles and big fatty thighs and somebody to change his dirty diaper after he's been sitting in his own shit for 2 to 3 hours. And he doesn't get a diaper lullaby. Nobody's singing to him while they're cleaning up his mushy poo. Scratch the lullaby, just like his nose, where I'll enter his brains with my index finger, fat with a French tip and with mass. He doesn't deserve a tune. He's obviously gay. That part is clear. He hates women and he's obviously gay. He's gay as a $3 bill. He's gay as the Yuletide. He's gay as your uncle who came out of the closet in his 80s, who has an affinity for tweed in a scarf and couture suits. And is always talking to your boyfriend at Thanksgiving dinner. He demands to sit next to them and he wants to share a whiskey rye. Shocker, he's gay. He's gay as you are by listening to the words coming out of my mouth. You're gay and you know it. And this is my demographic, and I really appreciate you. He's gay as the gym locker room after your husband's intramural basketball game. He's a point guard. He hasn't shot in a 3 since he had a stroke of luck in the 3rd grade. What's he doing there? And he's taking extra long to come home. And he's giddy. He's excited. He has a pep in his step after his intramural basketball game. Even though they lost, what are you so happy about? Because of what they're doing in the locker room. His towel's not wet. It's crunchy with extra ejaculation. He's gay, Diddy. And I've caught him wearing makeup more than once, I'll tell you that much. I caught a good layer of foundation on him. He's made that 3 p.m. round at Sephora with all the teeny boppers, and he's watching what they get from their knowledge on TikTok, and he's copying them. He's following close behind, not because he's a trafficker, but because he wants to traffic their makeup tips. He's going for the Dior Backstage Foundation. It has a great wear and it's buildable. He's going for the white Urban Decay eyeliner to open up those soulless eyes, those bedeviled eyes. And I did see this on him in a couple interviews and at a party. He did wear white eyeliner, I swear to God, and his waterline, I swear to God. Sue me. Sue me if you don't think I'm right, but guess what? He's been sued and nothing has happened. So maybe I'll be so ever lucky. Then maybe he'll get a contour stick to bring out his cheekbones, because his face is swollen with the lies that he keeps. The water is retaining with all the dark secrets that he has that we know of anyway, but they're plaguing him, and it doesn't look good. And he hates women because he's gay. He hates us because he's gay. Whenever he's at a party, like all the clips, whatever, when he's at a party and he's making a speech because he wants to be the center of attention, because he thinks that everyone loves him and everyone wants to hear him speak, and he's like shouting out the men on the stage name by name. And this Biggie Smalls here tonight, and he goes around, whatever, and then at the very end, he's like, and look at all the beautiful ladies this brought out. It's like we're an accessory. All we're good for is showing up as a beautiful lady. And that it's not anything worth talking about if there's not an accessory there who's beautiful. Well, I want to be ugly for you, daddy. Ew. That just slipped out. But you get it. I wouldn't want to be pretty for him, for an accessory. I'd want to be fugly if I showed up. Look, this is the kind of woman you want. But he needed women around him to make him look like he was a ladies' man because he was gay. And he couldn't let it out. And it's repulsive. And I bet his breath stinks. I've seen Cassie go in for the kiss and she was rejecting him. She was backing away for his breath was stinky. I bet he has breath like your dad after not. I bet he has breath like your dad after a night of drinking, and that 2-minute Sonicare just does not get it done, does ya? It's pungent. You know what I'm talking about. He has breath like the girl entering ketosis because she's snorting Adderall Q2 hours and missing her body's signals of hunger. And she's going to work right next to you and she won't shut the fuck up, and her fingers are typing at the same time and she's breathing on you, and you know her body is in an alternate metabolism. Well, Diddy, I see through your lies. You're a murderer. Every step you take, murder, murder, murder. Every move you make, murder, 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 murder. You'll be watching 'cause you're a sick stalker and a kidnapper. Why didn't you write those lyrics? They're very vulnerable and really true. Lean in. Why don't you own it, you big pussy bitch? Because everyone around him was killed or ended up in prison. It's not even like a coincidence. This isn't like a conspiracy. It's true. He's the head of the mob. He's the modern day mob. And he's going to go back to being in the mob because he's about to get out of jail in like 3 short years. So the doc, back to the doc. I took a little segue. I was on the 2-wheeled Segway. I was just going right along. But the doc did a good job of explaining his backstory, and like his mom like was not the best, as you can imagine, but he did go to a private Catholic school, and then he went to Brown, which is basically an Ivy League college. He did drop out to pursue whatever the fuck you call his career, ruining everyone's life through music and perversion, and through the music industry, I guess you could really call it that. I guess that was his line of work. I guess that should go on his LinkedIn. Pervert music man, ruin everyone's lives. Would you like to hire me? He has 1 star. But all the artists he worked with were like real, and this was their words, like real gangsters. Like he'd always wanted to be a gangster, but he looked funny. He had a weird haircut. He had no swag, no style, and he didn't live the life of, somebody who had real like credibility in the streets because of like violence or alliances or, where these people came from with parents who weren't there, a low socioeconomic status, or parents were bad. And that's, kind of what informed their way of life. It's like Biggie was rapping on the street before he got signed and was discovered. Diddy could never. He dropped out of Brown, an Ivy League school, and went straight into an internship and was like CEO in 2 years. It's just not giving gangster. Not the kind of gangster he wanted to be. And everyone else had to pay because he can't take accountability for his own actions. He just started as a normie, ugly plebe intern to a head music producer where, like I said, he would literally take over in 2 years through subterfuge. He's a subterfugist. He's a subterfuger. He's a submarine in the fuge at the bottom of the ocean. I don't have time to explain to you what it means. Look it up. Somebody who gets somewhere by manipulating other people. I could say that again. They said Diddy was a quote-unquote paper gangster. Boring by fucking people over through their contracts, but he wanted to prove that he was a real gangster so bad, like the other musicians that he worked with, but everyone could see straight through him. They just played his game because he was a big name in the music industry and you knew you had to get through them, but everyone knew it was just feeding into his ego because he knew he was a fraud. He's a wannabe. A big shake your tail feather of your line. And he shook himself so hard, he gave himself shaken Diddy syndrome. And it turned him into this. Yuck. He does bring up his dad. His dad died early because he was involved in like whatever kind of the mob. Like he was a real gangster. And he was like, and he was shot and killed when Diddy was young. He's like, I just knew when he got to a certain point in his career. I don't know, when he like hired a hitman for the first time. I don't know. He's like, I knew I had gangster in my blood. Like that's what he strived to be. But you're not like your daddy because he was shot and killed. Diddy, then why don't you get shot? You're always the one doing the shooting, but tit for tat, baby. You don't know what it's like on the other side. Why don't you play the game equally and fairly? You just tell other people what to do and hide behind hitmen. Well, get in there. It still hasn't like truly dawned on me that like you can get shot and not die. People are like, he was shot and then he went to jail. It's like, what? If he was shot, then he was dead. So yeah, put yourself in front of the bullet, Diddy. Maybe you'll die. Maybe you won't. And then maybe it'll dawn on you how scary it is and how we don't need violence. We need violence against Diddy, But he just didn't have the soul or the loyalty or the discretion to be a gangster. These people, like, they ride for each other. They have loyalties for each other. This is, like, why they get in trouble with other gangs and, like, why they die and stuff. He has no loyalty to anyone but himself. He's too much pussy. He is too much pussy to be a gangster. Like, he just doesn't have it in him. He doesn't. And he's not cool. And he doesn't have swag. And he doesn't have charisma. The whole time of the docu, 4 hours of interviews and him coming on and off, he didn't crack one joke. Maybe he tried to be funny, but it did not land. Like, I've never seen anyone so far in life without one funny bone. No. His funny bone is maybe the size of his pinky toe that doesn't even have a knuckle. It's like, ugh. And he had nothing to sing or rap about because he hadn't been through everything. People were like, oh yeah, when he started making his own music, he was bad. He was actually he was good at producing, but he's bad at making his own music. He's a wannabe. And he was jealous of everyone. Tupac was a prodigy and a real advocate through his music. And was always like, fuck the system, trying to turn things on its head, like a real voice in the Black community, always trying to bring people together. And Diddy was shallow as fuck. You could see his long toe hairs through the water. They were sticking out of the water. You couldn't even pretend to drown in a half inch of water, but he would for attention. Oh, somebody tried to drown me. In this 1 inch of water. Oh my God, I'm such a victim. Shave your toe hairs. He's no Luann. He's no Countess Luann. In fact, Don't Be Cool, Just Be Cool was misdirected at Carol and Ramona, and actually directed at gay boy Puff Daddy. Just be cool. Don't be uncool. But he's like so fucking uncool, and he knew it, which is why he had to take it out on other people. And in the beginning, like, I like the beginning better because it's a bunch of backstory that I didn't know. But they explain, like, they start kind of from the beginning, early of other events that he was able to escape from, like escape the responsibility of, that would have landed him in jail big time. But he always slithered his way out, which is what we see now with his basically conviction that he's going to be out in like 3+ years and doing the same shit. Because like early on, I think it was maybe his first kind of scandal that cost people's lives. Maybe there's probably a different word for that, tragedy. But he hosted a celebrity basketball game with like NBA players and huge name celebrities. There were celebrities there to watch. There were celebrities there to play. I think, who knows, but I just wanted to say it to make it more dramatic. And he over promoted. He's like, look what I'm putting on. Look what I'm putting on. Look how cool I am. Whatever, even though it was a really small space, like it was in a school gymnasium. And he was the one putting it on, but he didn't have any safety measures in place. And he advertised it so much, he knew thousands of people were going to show up in a tiny gym. It wasn't like, oh, we're sold out, watch it here on this live stream or whatever the equivalent was. He just like kept talking about it. Come, because he's prodigal. The prodigal son, it's too much, it's never enough. So all these fans were waiting outside, thousands of people that thought they were going to get in, and then they got impatient and banged the door down. And then all these people rushed in, like at once, like a stampede. You know, the door was locked, but they kept kicking, like with the force of 1,000 people. They like obviously get in. And he knew this was going to happen because he had a name for it. He's like, there's something, it's called this, which he's probably fucking lying, like in the Black community, which is like a bunch of people who show up in his space, like an event, and break the door down. Like if you knew, what she's probably lying just to put the blame on someone else, but if you knew this was going to happen, why didn't you have safety measures in place? Why couldn't you have put out a sold out sign? Or why don't you have people there to crowd control? So there was none of those measures put in place because he's an idiot, and they all came in at once, and it was a full-on stampede. There were people on the ground. There were people getting CPR by their friends. 9 people died. It is foreshadowing to Travis Scott because 9 people died there too. But there's literally, you can see friends giving CPR to other friends. There's body bags everywhere. And Diddy is walking around, I swear to God, he's in a white silk suit, which I could wrap around his neck and choke him to death. And his chest is just like inflated with ego. He's like slowly walking around, like taking in the view of chaos. He isn't helping at all. There was like this man carrying a woman out who was, limp and lifeless. Like I said, people were doing CPR. People were trying to help. He stuck out like a sore thumb because he was the only person walking around and not helping. He had not 1 ounce of penitence. Penitence 0 in that white silk suit. That's, again, so loud. Like Tupac would never to a basketball game, so you're not getting dirty. So I feel like you can kind of notice here in like his air and the way he was looking at the whole situation, like in real time, literally visibly looking with his eyes, that he just likes having the power to create such a calamity, and knowing that he can be responsible only secondhand of killing people. He's like, whoa, this worked out. People are dead. It was my fault, but not at the hands, like physically there's no blood on my hands. So like now his mind's running and like, oh, I can do this more and more. Like he was almost like proud of himself. And he tried not to address this like tragedy for a long time, but obviously he needed to speak up. He was like the organizer of this thing, and he said some lame non-answer answer. He never took accountability even once, even though he was this coordinator, and just was like, we are devastated that this happened. We like blah, 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 talking in circles. It won't happen again. Like you literally killed people. This was your fault. This could have been prevented in so many ways. But like people in the doc were like, all press is good press. Like this is what really popped Diddy off, because it was the first time people had seen him on a large scale, like doing this interview. It's like, oh, who put on this celebrity game? Never heard of him. Puff Daddy, nobody cares about him. And then, he went in front of the media. And now people are like, who's P. Diddy? Who's P. Diddy? Who's P. Diddy? So it's like it really did pop him off in a sick way. I always say I need a PR stunt, but it wouldn't be this. I haven't decided what's going to be, obviously, which is why you have not seen it. I've talked enough about Michael Bublé, I fucking me, which is like a Reddit thread along with my eyebrows. But believe you me, I don't have the narcissistic gene that P. Diddy has, and I didn't go looking. I'm not on enough medication for that. Maybe after a benzo I could handle it, but why would I want, but I want to feel good on a benzo. Why would I do that to myself? And why is there a Reddit thread about my eyebrows? So what? They're 90s. I know all these trolls are like, her eyebrows. She used to have such thick, beautiful eyebrows. Oh, my throat hurts. And throughout the doc, there's like so many anecdotes from people and stories, but honestly not enough. I wish there was more people on in the docu, because the sheer amount of murders he's involved with, sexual assault, domestic violence, brutal beatings is astounding in general. And this is just like a tiny little slice. I wish it went into more like exposing the victims. I guess they're all dead, so how can they? And more on like what we don't necessarily know, instead of like the high profile ones. Like they did cover Cassie. Not saying that whatever, she does deserve to be talked about, but that was recent and we know. But it's like they didn't say anything about Kim Porter, which he clearly killed her. Which is very suspicious. They didn't, they talked about their relationship, but that's all. Her death was very suspicious too, probably because Diddy had to sign off on this doc. There was one woman who he like drugged and raped and videotaped the whole thing and then put it on a big screen or showed like over 60 people. This was early like 92 or 93. Ruined her life forever. She just like needed a ride home back to Manhattan, and he was the only one that was offering it. Then he like coerced her into doing all of this stuff, but it's like she didn't even want to get close to him, and this is why. And like no one would have her back or speak up, even though everyone knew 60 plus people saw this videotape. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. It's like really concerning to watch a man brag about this. And people like wouldn't support her because they didn't want to be uninvited to his parties. And it's like, sorry, I can't relate. I don't even like to party, so I cannot put myself in your shoes. But also, if you knew this was happening to women, why would you want to go to these cursed parties? Like it will be you at some point. Is it worth it going to a high profile party even before social media? Nobody even knows you're there. Hello, just give it 10 years. And then we have videos, so we'll be like, got your ass, and send that shit to the police. But do you want to be embarrassed like these women and have people see videos of you being raped unconscious? Like it is literally I would say this is the most depraved, diabolical, but it's not, because it gets even worse. He is the poorest penniless excuse for a man. It's giving Epstein Island and people being like, but I don't know what went on there. Oh, I was never a part of it. Okay, idiot, I guess you left your brain where you left your scruples in your phone at the front desk check-in. I guess that's where it is. I guess that's where you left your eye sockets too, because you didn't know what was going on. You didn't see with your own eyes. You checked them all in when you got your room key. And then it talks about Capricorn Clark, which she was, if you guys followed the whatever jury, she got up to testify because he kidnapped her. She was his assistant for a long time, like 7 years. She like had his back, was super loyal to him. And he kidnapped her to go kill Kid Cudi, literally verbatim, because Cassie was cheating on him with Kid Cudi. He's like, get in the car, we're going. She's like, I do not want to. I don't want to go. And he kidnapped her. And then he fired her. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and she was so loyal to him. She was devastated. But this is how just like evil of a man. And I don't think people realize, like, in the court and jury and the people of the jury in the court, how hard it is to come forward with this kind of information. Like, they said they didn't believe her testimony because it was unclear, not believable. How? This man is depraved. Kidnapping is the least that he's capable of. And then the jury came on. They interviewed a couple jurors. It was like, clearly this was a love story. They dated for 10 years, or between Cassie and Diddy. Like, Cassie was smitten with him, and it was clear she didn't want to leave. She could have left. Are you? Ugh, the stupidity. I just cannot handle it. Like, she was afraid for her life. She thought if she left, she would get killed. This is literally 101 of being in an abusive relationship. Like, Diddy was killing everyone at this point. He went to go kill her real boyfriend that she wanted to be with, Kid Cudi. It's like, why don't you believe any of this? They didn't, in the docu too, they didn't say anything about Diddy blowing up Kid Cudi's car, because that same day Kid Cudi wasn't there and he went to go blow up his car. Arson is a felony. Hello, is directly related to him. It's like the baby oil has infiltrated all parts of his being and things just keep slipping off him. Every kind of criminal charge, it slips off, it slips off, it slips off. Because people were too afraid of him to turn him in because he was so violent and he would get away with it and then come kill you. Like, it's literally not, I feel like it's just not that hard to understand. This is why nobody speaks up. So, like, the women coming to stand, Cassie testifying pregnant, like, that takes a ton of bravery. She's still, like, scared for her life. And men are like, oh, I don't understand, like, what it's like to be scared. Oh, you can be scared. We're literally afraid to leave the house. Like, what do you mean? But I think they like the idea of being able to scare women. Like, this is what they rest on their laurels of, like, women should just leave because they want to be able to beat up their wives and be like, oh, well, she'll just leave if she's scared. Like, it's just not, it's just not the cycle of abuse. It's not how it happens. It's like they just don't know they do know it, but they don't want to admit it. Because if you leave an abusive relationship, the retaliation would be murder. You're going to get killed. Like, in surprise, surprise, we value our lives sometimes, but in that situation, I don't know. We can't, like, we literally don't want to leave the house. Hence is why we carry in our purse a mace or a rape whistle. And the mace has to be a cute color because we're girls at the end of the day and our protection should come in an array of pastel colors. Or maybe we'll bring a taser, or better yet, a Beverly Hills pen up your sleeve so you can secretly, if somebody comes too close, you can stab, stab, stab. Bet you didn't see this coming. But my friend and I, when we do a walk around the res, we're always like, should women start carrying artillery? Should women start carrying metal with a bullet? especially in the wilds of dating. You don't know what kind of freak you're meeting for an Italian dinner. His profile may be saying one thing, that he's nice and has a good job, but you don't know what his insides are saying until you get to the insides of the meatball. The meatball is raw and cold, maybe like the insides of him, so you come prepared. But the Beverly Hills pen may not be enough, so you need a weapon at your waist. Shh. Your hand on your hip under your fur coat. What's this mean? Scary man with a flair for a bolognese and 2 meatballs. Where are you putting all that meat? You're going to get a cardiovascular event. One wrong move, buddy, with that linguine. It's over for you, and it's called self-defense. I am the biggest proponent of the Second Amendment now. Surprise. Surprise. But when it comes to a man at an Italian dinner, you just don't know what they're capable of. But the list goes on and on of the people he sexually harassed through emails, through text messages. It's like Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane. He came onto her, was like, I'm watching porn, thinking of you, winky face, would go on and on via email. She wouldn't bite. She didn't take the bait, so he fired her. He sexually harassed his male partner in business, his childhood friend, who had helped him from the beginning. He stole all his stocks. This is all still pending in court because the childhood friend and his business partner obviously sued Diddy. Diddy sexually harassed his most latest music producer of his latest album. They wrote the album, it looked like on some kind of a yacht. And this producer, I think it was like, his name was Lil Rod. He would wake up groggy. He was always tired. Sometimes Diddy would be in his bed and he had no memories of what happened. It's like waking up to Diddy in your bed would be enough to ruin your whole consciousness and belief of goodwill. There goes your spirit. Your spirit used to be so bright. Not when Diddy gets a hold of it. No. It turns into that dust on the bottom of your sock in your shoe. And this producer naturally never got paid for any of his work. And Diddy would always flip the conversation and be like, don't make me do this, man. I thought of you as such a good friend. I like you, man. I love you personally as a friend. And then he'd switch and be like, and I pay all my debts. It's like, no, you don't. He'd be like on the phone with the producer who's suing him. He's like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to think of you differently. I used to like you. Like, these threats are so empty. You can see right through them. And he like doesn't pay his debts. He doesn't pay anyone. It's like, that's why I'm chasing you for my money, because you don't pay your debts. Like, it's like arguing with a literal toddler. Okay, but on to the murders of Tupac and Biggie. He was just such a little bitch. He was jealous of their relationship. That's it. His green with envy is coming out like lasers out of those deep, dark death eyes. Because Tupac and Biggie were actually good friends. Like, Tupac loved Biggie and was so happy and was so proud of his success. And like, that is a man who can support kind of like competition. But he was just happy to like see him rise and see his talent be noticed. And Diddy could not handle, because he wanted to be the center of the attention. He wanted to be the favorite and thinks that the whole world, Mars and all, should circulate him as the big ball of the light of the sun. Well, the sun sets on you now, Diddy, because you're nothing but darkless. A moonless night, not a star in the sky to give you a twinkle in your life. Pitch black and your flashlight batteries are dead in the dense forest. That is you, Diddy. There's no light around you. The sun doesn't even like you. And it like doesn't really have a choice. Like, it shines on everyone but you, literally. But so Biggie was signed to Diddy. So he was with Bad Boy Records, and Tupac was with Suge Knight. Death Row. So they were like kind of competitors. They were the two most successful like R&B rap music producing company. And obviously Tupac was the best thing, not even the next best thing. He's like sexy and he's smart and he's and the ladies love him, and so do the gentle ladies, because he just has this effervescent charisma, and he cares about what he's rapping about, and he has a purpose, and he has a vision, and he cares about people. And Tupac didn't want to touch Diddy with the 10-foot pole. 6 feet plus 4 did. Stay away. Tupac couldn't trust Diddy as far as he could throw him, which is not far given all the weight Diddy's put on. He made me sick to look at him through this documentary. Ugh. And his body proportions also give me the ick. His legs like go up to his nipple line, but then the belly hangs over. Okay, Gru. Okay, no wonder why nobody likes you. You're built funny. But Tupac knew not to fuck with Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy to the max, someone who cannot make up a name to save his life because his real name is Sean, and that just wouldn't do it. And I've never met a Sean I liked. Never, maybe one. But there's a lot of Seans out there, so my statement still basically stands. But Tupac had his own vision that was outside Bad Boy Records, and he knew he was bigger and better than them, and he had a good relationship with Suge Knight. He treated his musicians really well, Suge. He'd be like, we're in this together. I pay my clients because I want to lift them up because they lift me up. He had the whole opposite, just like business model, which any kind of manager should have. And everybody knew P. Diddy was just fake as fuck. Like at this point, everybody knew that Diddy wasn't paying his clients. Where's the green, Diddy? You put it into your clothing line and spend it on your friends' girlfriends because no one would like you otherwise, so you had to court them with diamonds that he took out of other people's paychecks. And then Tupac and Death Row and Suge started to call out Diddy publicly for his bad behavior. They were like at an award show and they were like, yeah, we're not like these other music producers who want to be in your music videos and takes all your money. Like they called him out loud and proud, and good for them, but it literally cost them their life. This is what happens when you speak up. Diddy did. He would sneak and slither his way into all of the artist tracks. What are you doing? Talking in the beginning of Biggie's song. Nobody wants you there. You don't go here. He's as slithery and sneaky as that baby oil. Oh my God, you guys, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish this. There's so much to talk about. Anyways, so basically, and this was all said in the doc, is that he's in connection with Tupac's murder. Obviously, he had an alliance with the Crips at this point. He became friends with the Crips, the gang, and used them as security. I think it was at an award show in Vegas where he knew Tupac was going to be, and he had like an outstanding $1 million hit on Tupac's head because he's such a pussy and is so jealous that he literally has to like kill not even his enemy maybe, but somebody that he's incredibly jealous of. Like this East Coast, West Coast just like wasn't even that real. Like people like music, so they would go to the East Coast and the West Coast. It was Diddy. He's the problem. He's the East Coast and the West Coast, dividing everybody and killing everybody. He kills the West Coast and the East Coast. He has no loyalties but anyone to himself. But so he put a $1 million hit on Tupac's head. He's sick of him. He wanted to get rid of him. They were in Vegas for an award show. The Crips were there as their security, and then Tupac got into a fight with somebody associated with Bad Boy Records. And then the Crips were like, okay, this is a perfect in. We can kill Tupac today, and then it would be blamed on retaliation from the person Tupac beat up, who was associated with Bad Boy. So that's what happened. And he was called out. It was like, why did you use the Crips as security? He was like, why would I ever do that? That's like the dumbest thing. Just talking in circles and word salad, not making any sense. This dressing is dressed. It's wet with confusion. The ranch and the blue cheese, you don't know which one's which because it's not making any sense. The beets are tomatoes, we don't know because the menu's not clear. This is Diddy. He speaks in circles, circumlocution, or something like that. Anyways, and then he led Biggie to his death. So Biggie was planning to leave Bad Boy because he's like, I'm getting robbed here. I'm not finding any of my money. Diddy knew that he was looking for a new production company because he had just asked Diddy for more money. And Diddy didn't want to give him any more money. But after like fighting, Diddy was like, okay, fine. I'll give you X, Y, and Z. So this was the pre to the meditation, the pre-med to the Asian. So Biggie had a Europe press tour planned to promote his new album, unheard of, across the pond. They weren't doing press for like big R&B rap artists ever. He really wanted to go. But that same time, Diddy planned a concert on enemy territory in LA to try and get the attention back because he's such a narcissist. So he's like, these people need to love me again. No, these people hate me. And he made Biggie skip his press tour and come with him to LA, even though Biggie explicitly said he didn't want to go because he was afraid. He was afraid of getting killed as they're going into enemy territory. I don't want to go. I'm scared. Over and over. Imagine Biggie Smalls being scared of anything. If he's scared, we're all going to be scared. Diddy was like, I don't give a fuck. You're coming with me. Led him to his death. Biggie was shot and killed there, obviously. And then this is what's sick. This is what's really, really sick. There's a couple things. Biggie had a Rolling Stones cover slated before his death. Puff Daddy calls them up. I don't know. The body's still warm. The body's not cold yet. It's going to take a while to get his body to cold, as aforementioned. His name's Biggie. The body's still warm. His heart's basically still bleeding. He's pulsing out of his bullet wounds. And Diddy calls Rolling Stone and was like, you will give this cover to me. He shot him for a Rolling Stones cover. The amount of pettiness this man has. Maybe we're not all using our full pettiness potential, are we? But I'm not going to shoot someone for a Rolling Stone cover. Maybe. Maybe. No! And then the money that he promised Biggie, his bonus, that he killed him for, Diddy used to plan his funeral. So Biggie paid for his own funeral. So sick and twisted. And then on the day that Biggie died, I think it was March 5th or March 9th or something, every year Diddy would throw a party, a celebration, a 4-day bender with that 2C, which in the subtitles it says like TUSC, but it's like 2C. It's like ketamine and coke. And would go on a bender, but these freak-off freaks for 4 days would never tell anyone why it was on this date annually, but it was obviously a celebration of Biggie's death. He's so fucking sick. He killed 2 of our best rappers ever. Imagine if they were still alive today. Tupac was 23. You guys, this is insane. And he's going to walk free. And then they obviously talked about the Cassie stuff. I'll say it once. I'll say it again. The prosecution got it all wrong. They shouldn't have charged for RICO. It's too hard to understand from a jury standpoint. And I'm a lawyer. Listen the fuck up. This is legal school in class, okay? I'm not Reese Witherspoon. I have my credentials. I'm Kim Kardashian. I haven't passed the bar yet, but I know what I'm talking about. They shouldn't have gone for RICO. The jury's not going to understand. And it's really, really, really hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this diddly squat idiot had done anything like conspiracy wise. They should have went in with attempted murder for Cassie. There's no statute of limitations on attempted murder, so they could bring in the video as evidence. They just show the video. The jury's like, okay, yeah, duh. It's not hard to convince them. He was kicking and hitting to kill her. Bringing an expert witness. He was like kicking her like a dog. Bringing an expert witness. You cross-examine them, and the expert witness is going to say, this is a different kind of beating up. When you kick the vital organs in the core, it means you want to kill someone, just like shooting someone in their leg versus their heart. One has an intent to kill. He had an intent to kill Cassie. He was kicking her lungs, her stomach, her heart, all vital organs, throwing shit at her, attempted manslaughter. So then she could have testified and said all the other times that he's done this. We already saw pictures of bruises and gashes, which again, another expert witness could have been like, a gash here means that he was going straight for her head. That could cause impending death. This bruise is blah, blah, blah. Why do I have to do all of the work for these lazy ass lawyers? Probably because they're too pussy to bring up something like murder because they were afraid the judge would like not take it seriously or they're taking it too far or something, but at least try. Go through his tapes. I'm sure you could have built a case. Like, I feel like the prosecution is always just weak. They're lazy. The defense is so much better. I know everything. Because the defense cares more. I don't know. Maybe because they have a lot more to prove. But anyways, with this attempted murder with Cassie, that could have been a window to bring in his connections to Tupac, Biggie, and he killed this other guy, Scout. And they settled outside of court for $500,000. Guilty as charged. Guilty as fucking charged when you settle outside of court. Like, they would have had a stronger case for sure. And maybe people would have gotten some justice. And I'm sure there's witnesses that have seen him beat the shit out of Cassie, beat the shit out of so many women. He wants to kill people. And the jury would be like, yeah, totally. Okay, well, I think I'm out of time. Wow, I really didn't run out of things to say. Okay, come back next week, okay? Okay.